If you feel completely drained by the constant pressure to improve, to achieve, to become something more, this might be the most important message you hear. From our earliest memories, we're conditioned to strive. Do better, be better, try harder. This mantra is drilled into us by parents, teachers, even our spiritual guides. We are taught that our value is tied to our output, that we must earn our place through relentless effort. But have you ever paused to question this fundamental assumption? What if this entire framework of striving is built on a profound misunderstanding? The truth is, most of our struggle isn't about living fully. It's about attempting to transform into someone we believe we are not. When you labor to find peace, you reinforce the idea that peace is absent. When you strive to be spiritual, you confirm your belief in your own inadequacy. Thus, the struggle itself perpetuates the very sense of lack you're trying to escape. Nature operates by a different principle entirely. There's a gentle intelligence at work that requires no force. The moment you cease pushing against the current, you discover you were always floating. When you stop trying to feel joy, you might notice a quiet contentment was already there. When you release the need to be validated, you recognize your inherent worth. And when you quit trying to manufacture a specific identity, your authentic nature begins to express itself spontaneously. Yet the idea of effortlessness alarms us. We've been conditioned to view relaxation as laziness and surrender as failure. So even our attempts to unwind become tense endeavors. We sit with clenched jaws, mentally commanding ourselves to let go, which is of course the very opposite of letting go. Can you see the inherent contradiction? The strain of trying to surrender only creates more tension. This is the source of that deep, soul-level exhaustion. So many feel today a fatigue born from the impossible task of trying to become what we fundamentally already are. Consider the natural world. A tree doesn't strain to grow. It simply reaches for the sun. A river doesn't struggle to flow. It follows the path of least resistance. Birds don't attend seminars on flight. They simply spread their wings. Existence, in its innate wisdom, unfolds without internal conflict. Our compulsion to strive is a human invention, a defense mechanism against the terrifying uncertainty of simply being. We don't know what the next moment holds, so we build fortresses of control from effort and anxiety, disguising fear as ambition. Then one day, you hit a wall. You're just tired of fixing yourself, tired of the endless self-improvement project, tired of chasing a horizon that forever recedes. And in that raw, vulnerable space, a new question can emerge. What if I simply stopped? What if I ceased all this trying? Now, understand this clearly. This is not an invitation to inaction. Life is movement, expression, engagement. But there is a crucial difference between forced action and spontaneous flow. The energy that circulates your blood and expands your lungs is the same force that spins planets. You don't command your heart to beat. It operates on its own authority. So when you feel tired of striving, what you're truly weary of is resisting your own natural rhythm. You're exhausted from paddling upstream in a current that wants to carry you. We have, as a culture, turned resistance into a virtue. We glorify the grind, worship at the altar of hustle, and equate achievement with worth. But ambition, untethered, becomes a cage. Progress becomes a tyrant, and accomplishment becomes a constant, silent testimony that you are not yet complete. So what if we release this story? What if life isn't a linear ladder to climb, but a vast ocean to float in? You cannot float if you are thrashing. You float by relaxing, by trusting the water to hold you. The music is already playing. We just need to stop marching. You see this in everyday interactions. People often don't truly listen. They are merely waiting for their turn to speak, trying to sound intelligent or significant. Yet the most genuine connections occur when you abandon the performance and become genuinely curious. When you stop trying to be enlightened, you may find that simple awareness was always your home. The search itself can obscure what you seek. This is the central paradox. You cannot reach a state of being through striving, because the act of striving confirms you are not there. It's like declaring, "I will now be spontaneous." The statement defeats its own purpose. Spontaneity arises when you are no longer managing it. Our entire society is engineered around this engine of effort. Our institutions, education, business, religion often reward striving and view surrender with suspicion. We measure human value by productivity. It's a magnificent system, powered by our collective exhaustion. Is it any wonder we feel hollow? When you are tired of trying, that emptiness isn't a sign of defeat. It is an awakening. It is your being whispering, the struggle is over, you are home. Think of an apple maturing on its branch. It doesn't rush, it doesn't fret, it ripens in its own time. And when the moment is right, it drops not from strain, but from a natural completion. The cosmos has been ripening you in the same way. Every setback, every moment of despair, every time you've thought, I just can't do this anymore, has been softening the hard shell of your ego, making you ready to receive a greater truth. Recall the most profound moments of your life. Weren't they usually unplanned? A sudden, breathtaking view, an unexpected laugh that shook your whole body, a moment of unearned grace. These are glimpses of what is possible when you stop managing life and start living it. There is a vital distinction between effort and energy. Effort is the ego's attempt to control life because it doesn't trust. Energy is life expressing itself through you when you do trust. When you are truly creative, you don't force inspiration, it pours through you. When you truly love, you don't try to love. Love is simply what you are. So when you say, I'm tired of trying, you might actually be saying, I am ready to trust. Trust that a wisdom greater than your anxious mind is orchestrating this dance. Trust that you don't need to grip the wheel of the universe. Trust that what appears as chaos is simply a pattern, too vast for your perception. The seasons don't need your approval to change. The moon doesn't require your consent to rise. And you, this miraculous spark of perception, are not separate from that grand self-organizing intelligence. You are that intelligence, currently experiencing a human form. This is the ultimate revelation. The one who has been striving so desperately was never a separate entity. It was life itself, pretending to be a fragment. And the instant you stop trying to be what you already are, a laugh bubbles up, the laugh of the universe, recognizing itself. You were never lost. You were never broken. You were simply immersed in the game of separation until you remembered the truth of connection. You are not a wave in the ocean. You are the ocean. When exhaustion from effort becomes total, a profound quietness can descend. It's not something you do, it's something that happens to you, like nightfall over a bustling town. The mind that was always racing to arrive somewhere finally grows still. And in that stillness, you discover a silence that is not empty, but full. This silence is the absence of the fight. It is the moment you stop holding your breath, metaphysically speaking. In this quiet, you begin to perceive an intelligence operating that is far wiser than your personal will. You see that the same power that guides geese across continents and designs the pattern of a snowflake is the intelligence behind your every breath and thought. To trust this is to find a rest deeper than sleep. Sleep restores the body. Surrender restores the soul. We are taught that if we stop striving, everything will crumble. The surprising truth is the reverse. When you stop gripping, you find you are being held. When you release the oars, you feel the current supporting you. This is not passive. It is a higher form of participation. A master cellist doesn't force the music from her instrument. She allows it to sing through her. She has practiced, yes, but in the performance, she vanishes into the sound. That is not effort. That is grace. The art of living is aligning with this flow, not controlling it. When the internal commentary subsides, your heart moves naturally toward what is true and kind. Compassion doesn't need to be manufactured, it arises. Insight doesn't need to be chased, it emerges. Purpose isn't found, it unveils itself in the act of engagement. This simplicity can be frightening. The conditioned mind protests, if I don't push, nothing will happen. Yet observe, the more we fill our time with forced doing, the more we lose touch with our essential being. We crowd our days with tasks and our minds with worries, and then wonder why serenity feels like a distant memory. When you stop trying, you rediscover a peace that does not depend on circumstance. It is not something you attain. It is what you are when the struggle ceases. Imagine a lake's surface churned by the wind. You cannot see the bottom. But when the wind dies down, the mud settles, and the water becomes transparent. The clarity was never manufactured. It was merely revealed. Your mind is the same. You've been agitating it with striving and self-criticism. The moment you stop stirring, your natural lucidity returns. You don't create the stillness. You simply cease disturbing the water. This is why the timeless advice is to be still. It's not a command to freeze, but an invitation to return to your natural state. Trying is born from fear, the fear that without our intervention, things will go wrong. Allowing is born from trust, the trust that we can meet whatever arises. Life, in its mysterious way, seems to support those who choose trust. You may start to notice that when you stop manipulating outcomes, events begin to arrange themselves with a curious synchronicity. The right resource appears. The perfect conversation happens. The answer you sought arrives not in the storm of your anxiety, but in the calm after you let go. You might call it luck, but what if it's life's way of thanking you for getting out of its way? The universe is not your adversary. It only resists your resistance. When you align with it, the same forces that felt like obstacles become the very currents that propel you forward. The wind is no longer in your face, it's at your back. Living from this place transforms everything, even the mundane. Your walk becomes lighter, your breath becomes deeper. You view others not as rivals, but as fellow travelers, each wrestling with their own version of the struggle. And you feel a deep compassion because you see your own former self in them. You understand the agony and the absurdity of all that trying. This realization doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes you more human. You no longer need to prove your value. You can live simply, authentically, and fully, even amidst the world's chaos. That is real power. Not the power to dominate, but the power to yield. For in yielding to the flow of life, you unite with the immense intelligence you once thought you had to battle. Once you have felt this, once you have known that the same conscious force animates every cell, every star, every moment of love and loss, you see there was never a separate you to begin with. The tired, striving self was an illusion, a temporary character in a much larger story. When that character exits the stage, what remains is light, spacious, and free. You laugh more, you hold things more loosely. You see that existence has always been a divine play, serious only when you forget it's a game. Your exhaustion was not a failure, it was an initiation. You were being prepared to release the illusion of control. You were being readied to trust the rhythm that has always been your true foundation. So if you are tired of trying, just stop. Be quiet. Listen. Beneath the noise of your thoughts, you might detect a steady, silent hum. That hum is existence itself. It has never left you. It never demanded your perfection. It only ever asked for your presence. For when you cease trying to live your life, you finally understand life has always been living you. And in that knowing, effort transforms into ease. Fear dissolves into freedom, and the weary soul remembers its eternal, untroubled nature. If this message brought you peace, please like this video and follow Winds of Thought for more.